All right, what is up, my brothers from another mother? Today's video, I'm going to be covering a sponsored topic, a request from a guy that wants some assistance passing competency tests from women, also known as crap tests. We're going to water this down a little bit for the YouTubes. So he says here, hey Rich, could you make a journal of specific situations of ladies, S-testing and trick examples? It can include exact phrases or behaviors she tries to use and why it's a trap. It would be great to have examples of replies and why they work and don't work. I've gotten a lot better at these in recent years, but it feels like there's always room for improvement. I'm a person who cares about education and improvement in general for all, but sometimes this attitude feels like it can be used against me by a tricky person. Example, a lady feels down on herself for some reason, and I try to motivate her to improve the situation, but this can be seen as simp behavior. Balance and timing these attitudes is a key skill, and you know what though, this is not a competency test right here if she feels down on herself. And you're right, it is a simp behavior. It is not your responsibility to motivate or rescue anybody. This is a blue pill mindset right here, what you're thinking about. This has nothing to do with competency tests. Anyway, I've got a list of some competency tests over here I'm going to go over in a second. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so bear with me for a second. Balance and time in these attitudes is key still, and make a comprehensive book of specifics. I'm not writing a book for you, my friend, but I will summarize what competency tests are and some examples of the main ones so you could pass them. You could also make a bonus level bank by getting it published. I got a more important book that I got to finish right now, but I appreciate the offer. Videos are great. Study best with books. Thanks for all your self-improvement assistance. Cheers. Okay. So first thing you need to know, dude, is stop trying to complicate your life with, I need to read a book on passing competency tests from women. Women will test men, whether you're dating, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're married. They almost will always test men. The only times women don't test men with the competency tests, aka crap tests, is when they know that you are the best that they can do. Even then, women will inadvertently still try to test you, even when they know that you're the best that they can do. That's all that it is. They're just confirming that you are the best male specimen that they could possibly get, and that's all that it boils down to. Now, the best ROI, again, I need to state this because too many of you guys are, focused on, give me a list of, these things or responses and standard this and that, and, so I can be better with women. But what you all keep forgetting, not all, but, many of you keep forgetting is, you want to pass competency tests, your ROI is invested on yourself. Making money, making muscles, making bank. You put that first and foremost, you're going to find the level and the amount of testing that you get is going to decline. Now, that being said, women will always test you early on to see if you are an alpha or a beta, essentially, to see if you have the competency skills that she's looking for at that stage of her life, or that stage of the month for it, whether it's alpha seed or beta need, depending on where she's at. So you have to understand that it will happen early on. So I've tailored these responses here mostly for early on. Because crap testing you in a long-term relationship should not happen that much. You should be the game at that stage if that's what you've done. So let's just slide this over. I'll drop this Word doc here, pull this over here. So your first option is, and I didn't make that one large enough, did I? Let's set that up to 14, make it a little bigger. Your first option is ignore it. Top shelf men, alphas, will ignore shit tests for the most part because they can, because they know that their best ROI is again on themselves, and also walking away from dumb questions like that is not a good use of their time. So within a few, sometimes 3 to 5, you may see a periodic one later on down the road, for example, which in my belief will be relatively unlikely if you are on a purpose, you're putting a dent in the universe and you're doing your thing. But ignoring it is often the most useful thing that you can do. Once you've established who you are and your creed, getting these on an ongoing basis should not happen. It should be normalized that it doesn't happen, or it happens a lot less. If she's still testing you a lot further on down the road, you're doing something wrong. So early on, ignoring it probably won't be your best bet. It'll definitely work a lot better later on down the road when you've proven yourself with all these other ones. So let's deal with the other main ones too. So owning it, also known as agreeing and amplify, which looks like her. Hey, I bet you say that to every woman. My response would be no, only the ones I find attractive. So her S test for you right now is really to establish, are you a player? Is there enough social proof that would allow her to determine that there's other women that have an interest in you? I mean, again, women always want a guy that other women want to be with and other men want to be. So she's trying to establish if you're a high value guy. A beta orbiter is going to start to, entertain conversations around that. He's going to play games with it. He's going to try to defend himself. But a true, proper alpha male, man that can pass S tests properly, will say no. Only the ones I find attractive, and then leave it at that, and then move on from the conversation. By the way, something like this would probably happen over text message within the first few dates, for example. This one here is pretty common. I mean, you'll see this often with women. And by the way, guys, if you have competency tests that you see thrown at you often, put them in the comments below. Competency tests, your response, or if it's a thread of 2 to 4, something like that, put it in there just to let guys get an idea. So, the comment section of this can become a useful resource for people as well. The next one that I like is shaming her. So basically, it's almost like a turnaround. So if she were to say something to you later on down the road, as you've gotten to know her quite a bit better, like, why can't you fix a lawnmower, or why can't you change a tire or the oil or something like that, I would just look at her and say, well, why can't you fix me a cheesecake, or why can't you make me a sandwich, right? And that's kind of like the ignore model. The only difference is you're just kind of turning around with a light shaming tactic, which is really what she's trying to do here. Like, she's basically saying, do you have the competency skills to perform male tasks? It doesn't matter how much, of the toxic feminism Kool-Aid she's drank. Women still want a man that is better than them. That's what hypergamy is. It's her interests, or her desire to always know that she's dating up, that she's got a higher value man, or of higher value than what she is, right? So, I mean, you turn around, it's like, well, make me a sandwich, or, why can't you fix me a cheesecake? So the shaming her is another strategy that you can use, which can also be, you can have some fun with that too. Another one is to put your foot down. So here's an example of one, her, I didn't hear from you last night. How was she? Implying that, you didn't get back to her because you were some other chick. You may or may not have been spinning plates. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's none of her business. You just respond with great thanks, right? And then if she's going to start insulting you, you need to put your foot down and set some boundaries. So she might say something like, you're such a dog. I'm going to call Tyrone, and then tonight you'd cut her off right there. If you're talking on the phone, you'd cut her off right there. If it's text message, you want to respond with, look, Becky, your thirsty beta orbiters might tolerate name calling. I don't. You're with me tonight, 8 p.m., and wear that little black dress I like. Okay, so when you're setting boundaries around them, she might call you names. She might push into an area that is trying to draw you into her frame to control. And all you're basically saying is, nope, not going to happen. I am who I am. And as a matter of fact, you're not doing this. You're with me tonight at 8 p.m., and you're going to wear that dress. Now, this might fail miserably if you're not a high-value man. Okay, you can't put your foot down if you're not a high value man. Again, like I said earlier, your best ROI is reinvesting into yourself so that your value is impressive to her, and that you can say things like that because you're spoiled for choice. You should have other numbers in your phone. If Becky's going to give you a hard time or continuously crap test you, you have an opportunity to go on your phone and be like, all right, well, let's see what Rachel's doing tonight. Okay, and then you can move on from there because you're spoiled for choice and you're not going to play silly games like this. You can put your foot down. So that's another good example. So we've done ignore it, own it, which is also agree and amplify, shame her, which is kind of a bit of a turnaround. You're going to put your foot down in scenarios where she's insulting you. Guys, by the way, again, you should never, ever, ever tolerate disrespect. If women are disrespecting you and you don't have an ability to respond to that and enforce a boundary, stop chasing tail. Stop wasting your time with it. You've got to improve your value. You've got to increase your value. Most guys that I have spoken to or have done consults with, if I ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest value that you can possibly be. I'm not saying, compare yourself to somebody like Brad Pitt, for example, but what is the highest value that you can possibly be? So if 10 is the highest value and 1 is the lowest, where would you put yourself? Most guys are saying around 6 or 7. So they've always got several points of improvement that they can apply to them, to their lives, which would allow them to make more money, make more muscles, have more game, sort of thing, right? Those are the key areas. And then last one I've got here on this list is really just turn it around. And here's a good example. And this is like kind of like the whole shamer and put your foot down, but you're kind of turning around in a more, it's a little bit of a softer way. This is with a walk away. So I did something like this once with an ex-girlfriend where she was like, you're totally into yourself. And I'm like, really? Well, somebody that's totally into themselves would have fake boobs like you, right? And I just kind of walked away. So here's another good example. You're totally into yourself. Am I? Yeah, with your abs, your diet, your gym, cut her off from there, right? And then all that you're going to respond with a soft next or a walk away is, says the woman that wears heels to appeal taller, a push-up bra to look bigger chested, and makeup to hide the blemishes. And that's how you turn around that competency test. So those would be the main ones in my book. But again, I don't think it's valuable to men. I'm sure if you go to Amazon or you search, the interwebs, you're going to find some kind of book or a congruent list of how to pass competency tests with scripts and all this kind of stuff. It's my view, gentlemen, that you should be chasing excellence, not women. Stuff like this will come up. It comes up for me from time to time, not that often. I mean, I'm in a non-cohab LTR, so I don't have to knock very many crap tests out of the park. If I do need to respond to one, I've always been able to knock them out of the park, but that's because I am the game, right? So when you double down on yourself and you become the highest value version of yourself that you can be, again, you're not comparing yourself to a guy like Brad Pitt. You're not going to, compare yourself to, a top shelf Hollywood style guy. You're going to compare yourself to you. If you have room to improve, that's where your best ROI is going to be. It's not going to be memorizing and regurgitating lines to respond to different categories of competency tests. She's testing you for competency skills because her hypergamy is always asking her, is this dude the best that I can do? That's all it is. It's kind of a good thing if she's throwing some competency tests at you. It's not a good thing if it continues longer term in the relationship and on a consistent basis. I mean, if you're dealing with a competency test, you've been with a chick for a year or 2 years, and every couple of days there's some crap you got to put up with that's well beyond what I've described over here. She's basically trying to remind herself to go shopping and to go market herself somewhere else. It's usually around times like that, a couple years into a relationship, if she's competency testing you like that on a frequent basis, that she might go out for her girls' night out on a more frequent basis, wearing the little black dress that you like for other people to market herself publicly. So that's not a good sign. Early on, it's a good sign because she wants to make sure that you're a top shelf man. You should be able to knock them out of park with those examples. But again, best ROI on yourself, double down on that. Hope that answer helps you out, guys. Again, if you have some interesting competency tests that you want to leave in the comments below, that should become a good resource for other people watching this video. And if you want to make a request for a video, up on the top right of the screen, I'll put a pop-out banner for how to request a video. If you want to join my men's community, it's called the 1%. These are all top shelf men doing the work on themselves, of course, making more money, more muscles, and more bank. So all of this is pretty straightforward in my view, dude. Don't put too much time studying how to pass these tests. Put more time into yourself. That's your ROI. See you guys in the next video. Peace out.